right, what's happening? Big Shay reporting for duty, and I have a very nice one for you all today. This explains some things that I was feeling in my spirit that I knew just common sense according to Christianity just didn't make sense. I just knew that certain things just did not make sense, and I have had loved ones that I have really been. I don't want to say arguing because we've been keeping it peaceable. I don't want to say debating because we've been keeping it peaceable. But I just want to say, I guess, conversating about. But loved ones, I have loved ones that I just like. They've been making certain statements and having certain beliefs. And I've just been trying to explain to them how a lot of things that are going on. See, these individuals are so big on looking at the Democratic Party and pointing out all of the obvious antichrist practices that they like to get behind and support. And it's too obvious to see, especially if you are a practicing Christian. You already know that the Democratic side promotes a lot of things that are against God in terms of like the homosexuality, the transgender type of things, the abortions, everything else like that. And at the end of the day, we're not hating anyone who participates in these things, but we know it's wrong. We can't support it. We can't openly just support it and speak as though we know nothing is wrong with it and that, your soul is not at stake behind participating in these type of things. But it's just like anything else. I always had a quote that I used to always say. I have a good friend of mine who said, man, I always think about this thing that you used to say, bro. I always think about this thing. He said, if you know someone who's about to walk into a pit full of snakes, would you stop them? Would you warn them? Would you say, hey, watch out, man. Look, if you walk right there, there's a little board on the ground, but when you walk on top of that board, it's going to cave in and you're going to fall into a pit full of venomous snakes. Would you tell someone? Mostly everyone would say yes. Mostly anyone with any kind of common sense, unless you are one of the most evil individuals on earth and loves to watch people suffer, you're going to say yes, I would warn someone about that. So you can't ask us, why do we speak against things that we know are sin according to the word of God? You can't ask us why we speak against these things that we know are not only sins, but abominations according to the word of God. No, just because I know homosexuality is wrong, do you think that means I want to see homosexuals lose their lives? Of course not. Absolutely not. Do you think I want to see them beaten or harmed or injured or beat up and assaulted? Absolutely not. For what reason? For what purpose? The only thing that I want to see happen is a change of the heart and the mind to change and turn away from the actions that they are involved with. That would bring me no satisfaction to see someone just getting beat up on or getting killed or something like that. That's not going to change their heart and their mind. And if anything, if you assault someone because of something that they're doing, it may just make them keep on doing it anyway, because they're going to feel as though like they're on some type of righteous journey now to do what they're doing. As if they're being picked on because what they're doing is right, because what they're doing is righteous. So that there's many reasons that you just wouldn't want that to happen. I mean, number one, just being that you don't want to bring harm to someone. You can't even bring harm to your enemies, according to the Bible. We're supposed to love our enemies. So why would we want to see something happen to someone just because they don't agree with us, or just because they have a belief that we don't have? That's unacceptable. But a lot of people like to use that as an excuse when we speak out against things. Oh, you're hateful, you're this, you're that. And that doesn't really work on me, because I know better. I know that that's just a tactic of weak people who don't have a counter argument, or who just want to do whatever it is that they're doing. And so they don't have a real defense of their actions. So that's the only thing that they come up with. Ooh, excuse me. I don't know. I'm so tired right now. But, it's the same as, when you're speaking against things that some of our young ladies are doing in the world today. Some things that our women are doing where they're not respecting themselves, where their standards are low, where they're prostituting themselves, where they're pretty much selling their bodies for money and for rich men and this or that, and you speak on it, the first thing that they want to say is, oh, you hate women. Oh, you hate black women. It's like, bro, that's weak. That doesn't work. Especially when we're sitting there applauding the good, decent women who are doing those things that they ought to be doing to keep their families together, to keep their innocence together, to keep their virtue together. It's like that doesn't work when you're just trying to use that as a weapon just because you don't want to be accountable and think about your actions. Or when you talk about certain things that are happening in certain neighborhoods or certain things that are happening with your demographic of people that you know and love. But you know these actions are just not going to bring about good, godly results. Or now they want to say, oh, well, you hate black folks. Oh, well, you hate your own people. Oh, well, you're this, you're that. Like everyone wants to. That's the thing about the world today. The sad thing about the world today is they want to claim that you hate something as long as you don't agree with it. The second that you don't agree with something, you hate them. That's very, very weak. That's what social media has produced. It's produced a bunch of emotional babies to where it's like, if you're not in my comment section agreeing with everything that I'm doing and giving me props and liking all of my stuff and loving all of my stuff, then you're a hater. That usually comes from a younger generation. But you have a lot of older folks who speak foolishly and speak on those same levels as well. But back to my original point of this message. I finally understood. Well, the point that I was making was that, it's easy to come against the Democratic Party because of how many anti-Christian values they promote and speak. But you can't be fooled when you look at the other party. You look at the Republican Party. Just because they talk a lot of Bible stuff, just because they talk a lot of Christian stuff, you can't be fooled by that and say, oh, well, that must be the Christian party. Because politics is politics, period, at the end of the day. If you're involved in politics, most likely anyway, there's some things that are not righteous about how you are either talking or ideas you are promoting or the people that are around you. Why? Because it's ran by many people who are not true Christians. Yeah, am I saying that there are no true Christians in politics? No, I'm not going to say that. But I don't think that they're very powerful. I don't think that they are in positions where they can really influence change and have a loud voice, because that's a dirty game. And you have to do a lot of dirty things to get to the top of that game. And you have to be involved in a lot of selfish ideas and tactics in order to rise in that game. You have to do favors for others. Once they do favors for you, you have to return the favor. You have to help people get ahead in certain ways to where they can help you do that later on down the line. It's just a very, very odd and evil game. It's been like that since the days of the Bible with the leaders of the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the people who were highly ranked. So don't be fooled just because one side talks a lot of Christian talk, talks a lot of Christian values. All you have to do is see who certain individuals' friends are. See who they hang around. You can tell a man by his company. Birds of a feather flock together. Whatever quote you want to use. You see the type of people that each party attracts. And so if your party attracts the KKK, there may be a problem. If your party attracts racist, hate-filled individuals, there may be a problem. If your party attracts folks who have stolen land from others and have taken pride in it all the way to the point to where they forgot the evil things that they have done, enslaved people, and want to act as though these things never happened, there may be a problem. And I see that so many times with the Republican Party. You can talk about the Bible all you want. You can talk about God all you want. And I have some other videos I'm going to make where I really dive deep into a lot of things about the history of America. And I think you all are going to be very, very entertained and interested in these things. But I finally understood. I've already seen it. See, it wasn't enough for me to just say, listen, I know these people talk a lot about the Bible, but there's a lot of hatred hidden in their hearts. There's a lot of racism and segregation and division hidden in these people's hearts. You can feel it. Even at a lot of these Trump rallies and meetings and stuff like that, you would see the type of crowds that were being gathered. And you knew, like, listen, bruh, this is the type of spirit, this is the type of crowd that your spirit ushers in. You can tell someone by their fruits. You can tell a tree by its fruits. And I saw the type of people that were going to these Trump rallies. I saw the type of images that were being shown. I saw the type of hatred and the fights that were breaking out and the different things that were taking place. I saw the type of people who were starting to feel extremely comfortable at these rallies and meetings. And even then, when it all first kicked off, I said, man, this dude is ushering in a spirit of racism, a spirit of hatred. But yet you'll hear these same people talking about the Bible all day long, over and over and over. But now it all makes sense because I have a name, a title to put with it that I didn't really even know was a thing really until today. I just figured they were just like many people that the Bible speaks of, how many people are going to yell, Jesus, Lord, Lord. You know, we prophesied in your name. We healed in your name. We did all these different things in your name. But the Bible says that on Judgment Day, he's going to say, depart from me, you workers of iniquity, for I do not know you. So I just figured that was enough to say that, you know, a lot of these individuals are going to fall under this category. Just not even knowing that these people have a name, an agenda, and it is called Christian nationalism. I never knew that. I probably heard the term before, but never attributed it to a actual group or to people who are actually claiming this and saying this. And whether they say this out loud, out of their mouths or not, you can tell those who believe in this belief by their fruits. You could tell these trees by their fruits and the things that they believe in. And Christian nationalism is not anything. Well, no, let me take that back. It is similar. It is similar to Christianity. But it's like Catholicism. They start off with a bunch of the same views, but then they break off and branch off into their own ideas. Christian nationalism, however, does not follow and adhere strictly to the rules of Christianity as we know them. And I'm going to break that whole thing down in another video. In another video, I'm going to really truly break down the whole beliefs and everything else of Christian nationalism and in comparison to Christianity. But in this video, I just want you to hear what's being said. Because it's one thing for me to be speaking about it, but I love it when other European people speak out against the Europeans in this country that are doing some of the crazy antichrist type things that they are doing. So let's take a listen to this. I think you all will really enjoy this, especially if you believe in the Bible. You're going to really enjoy this, but it's going to really help you to understand. You'll understand now, how do these people claim to be Christian, but they do this, but they do that because they're not just Christians. They're Christian nationalists, which is not Christianity. So check this out.
Because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and God alone.
Hey all, I'm John Avlon, and this is Reality Check on the Extremist Beat. We've got to talk about Christian nationalism, because it's gone from a fringe belief system advocated by a few folks on the far right to an increasingly prominent article of political faith.
Now I just want to show you something right quick. Hold up.
We've got to talk.
Right here alone, most people don't even know this. And this is how hypocritical a lot of people are who call themselves patriots. Do you know that the flag is not supposed to be put on any type of memorabilia or any type of shorts, any other type of bandanas, anything of that nature. You are not supposed to take the flag and print it on anything. And that's according to the flag code. You understand? That's according to the flag code of the American flag. Now, look, I'm taking a look at the flag code right now. The American flag code. I'm talking about it's a whole list of things of what you're supposed to do with the American flag, as if this thing is just the most righteous thing ever. They try to make it equal to the cross. And in my other video, I'm going to let you know and talk about how Christian nationalists try to make the American flag equal to the cross. But the American flag code says that the American flag should not be used as clothing, bedding, or drapery. Well, this man right here has it draped over his back. He's made his own little kind of flag and has printed other things on it. And it actually says that the American flag should not have anything attached to it or printed on it. Well, you've made it into the shape of the United States, and then you printed other words on top and below it. In this picture right here, it says the American flag should not be used for decorating or advertising. And it's just all kind of things that these people who call themselves patriots and this or that they did. At the end of the day, these people are going to do what they want to do. Like many people who claim to be Christians do what they want to do and make the Bible just fit into their life, or try to look for a scripture that's going to justify their actions. But here it is. You see these people, they use the flag. It says the flag should not be used as clothing, bedding, or drapery. But you'll see someone with some American flag swimming trunks on, American flag t-shirt, American flag bandana. You see all these different things that people who claim to be so patriotic do not even follow themselves when it comes to the flag code of the American flag. But anyway.
About Christian nationalism. Because it's gone from a fringe belief system advocated by a few folks on the far right to an increasingly prominent article of political faith inside the Republican Party. In recent months, it's been celebrated by some of the Trumpiest members of Congress.
We need to be the party of nationalism, and I'm a Christian and I say it proudly. We should be Christian nationalists.
The church is supposed to direct.
Bro, and these people saying that they're Christians, these same people have said some of the most hateful things about other people, other demographics, other races. That particular lady right there, Marge Green, I want to say, man, I've seen her interact in Congress just in some mean ways, bro, that no one who calls themselves a Christian should even be conducting themselves. I mean, this is the same woman. Listen right here. This is the same woman right here, Marjorie Green.
Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about. I
think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order, Mr. Chairman. That's beneath even order.
Now look, bro. I am the number one person who would tell you I dislike the big fake eyelashes more than anyone in the world. But to speak like that in the middle of, I don't know if this is a town hall meeting, a congressional hearing meeting, or whatever it is, and to speak to one of your, at this point, co-workers like that. She said, I think your big eyelashes are in the way of messing up what you're reading. There's a lot of undertones with that coming from a European woman. There's a lot of racial undertones. There's the same woman who says, I'm a Christian. I'm just letting you know.
I know a ton of white people that are as lazy and sorry and probably worse than black people I know.
We just read.
What? That's her. That's Marjorie Green. There's another clip I'm looking at right now where she has on a mask in the middle of a meeting, and the mask actually says, this mask is as useless as Joe Biden. Now, I mean, you can argue about that if you want. I'm not sitting here arguing how effective Joe Biden is or was as president and whatnot. But once again, you're saying you're Christian, but you have all kind of shots that you're throwing at people. I see the lady, they call her AOC. I forget her name. Forgive me for that. But she asked her to apologize to the other young lady when she disrespected her about her eyelashes. And she said, I'm not apologizing. I'm not saying I'm sorry. I'm not apologizing for that. I mean, just a rude, just disrespectful, hateful woman. But once again, claims to be Christian. I can bring you a million examples of each of these people who we're going to see that are talking all of this Christian talk, that either they support these hateful individuals or they are hateful individuals themselves. Now, this is her talking about that same AOC, which I believe her name is, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I believe she's on the Democratic side. Like I said, I don't back any of these people. I'm just telling you, their names or what happened. But this is something that this Christian woman said about debating AOC.
She better show up. If she chickens out, then she shows exactly who she really is, a scared little girl that is pretty stupid and doesn't know anything about the economy or economics.
Now, see what I'm saying? Like, once again, this is that Christian lady that we're talking about here.
The government. The government is not supposed to direct the church. That is not how our founding fathers
She said the government is not supposed to direct the church. Okay.
intended it. And I'm tired of this separation of church and the church is supposed to direct the government. The government is not supposed to direct the church. That is not how our founding fathers intended it. And I'm tired of this separation of church and state junk.
And that's not all. Christian nationalism also reared its head in the January 6th attack on Congress.
Okay, so see,
Is supposed to
I guess that he's finding something wrong with that, but that I do have to agree with. The church is supposed to direct the government, but that's only in a country that's actually based on Christianity. Now, I don't agree with this woman being in the pulpit saying what she's supposed to be saying, because if you read that same Bible, she's not supposed to be at that pulpit preaching or calling herself a pastor or whatever it may be. I don't know who this young lady is, but I see that it says Cornerstone Christian Center, so it would lead me to believe that she's up there preaching in a church. So she shouldn't even be up there talking. You see a lot of defiant women, even though, don't get me wrong, I absolutely know and understand that there's a lot of defiant women on the Democratic side as well. But usually, I don't know if it's for church purposes or whatnot. They're just defiant purposely. But you see a lot of women on this Republican side who are outspoken, who don't have the qualities and characteristics of like motherly women, meek, humble. You see some loud, aggressive women who are hateful, who have very strong opinions, in which they'll just try to talk crazy to you. And they're talking crazy to everyone, other women, other men, whoever it may be. But you just see a lot of stuff that's out of order. They just want to do, this is everyone in the world right now. Everyone wants to just do what they want to do and then check with God about it later. You get what I'm saying? But I do have to agree with that point, though. That's something that I always say. The church is supposed to direct the government if your government is actually a Christian nation. Like I said, I'm going to do a whole video on how this country is not a Christian nation. They can say it all they want to, but it was not founded on Christian beliefs. And it's not even that hard to find. It's not even that hard to discover it and to see these things for yourself. All you have to do is just scratch the surface. You don't even really have to scratch the surface. But if you scratch the surface, you're going to get proof that it's just undeniable. You get what I'm saying? But I guess in this video, they're believing that there should be a separation of church and state, and there shouldn't be. If you want your nation to be holy, if you want your nation to be Christian, if you want your nation to be saved, you allow the rules of God to rule your nation. But this isn't a Christian nation, so they don't. And so these people who are claiming and fighting about this being a Christian nation are having a problem with the government ruling churches sometimes, and the church is not ruling the government. That should be the number one clue right there that this is not a Christian nation. But anyway, let's continue.
Direct the government. The government is not supposed to direct the church. That is not how our founding fathers intended it. And I'm tired of this separation of church and state junk.
And that's not all. Christian nationalism also reared its head in the January 6th attack on Congress.
Yeah, we know this.
Omnipotent and omnipresent creator God, for filling this chamber with your white light of love.
Now, I never saw this clip. I saw this earlier. I couldn't wait to show y'all this. I did not know that when the people broke into the Capitol building, dog, they're in here praying. After all the violence, after seeing people outside, if y'all saw my last video, after seeing people flashing guns tucked behind their waistband, after going in there saying that they were looking for certain people to hang and to injure and to kill, they're praying. He's on a speakerphone, and they're praying. Look at the dude right here with his hands out, like he's in deep, sincere prayer.
Now, nationalism also reared its head in the January 6th attack on Congress.
Thank you, divine, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent creator God, for filling this chamber with...
This dude is in there with his shirt off, with his face painted, with a loud microphone. They've got the dude on the left has his Trump shirt on. They're putting their heads down. They are dog. This is crazy. I never saw this clip. And see, some of the stuff is so crazy that I wouldn't believe it unless I saw it. Like, if you'd have told me that they went in there and then they prayed while they went there, I'd be like, no, they didn't. There's no way they did that. Like, at least they have to know that they're crazy. Like, there's no way that they did all of this and still felt religious. No, they not only do they feel religious, they feel justified. They feel that they are doing the work of God. The Bible even speaks about how there's going to be people who kill people and are going to do it saying that they're doing God a favor, that they're doing it in God's name. And they're going to be false. They're going to be just murderers. There's going to be lies. But they truly believe. They are truly deceived. See, this is what happens when you just believe what you want to believe so bad, when you don't have the heart and mind to think of others, when you don't have the heart and mind to humble yourself, and you really just think that whatever it is that you want to do, you can find a way to justify it in the Bible because you're just special, or you think you're the chosen people. That's how these type of things happen. This dude is sitting there with a flag over his shoulder. This is crazy. This is absurd. And they're really in there like, look, these dudes have their hands up like they're really praying to God after you just broke into. Now, doesn't that same Bible that you're talking about, doesn't it tell you to respect the laws of the land? Especially if it's laws that line up with Christianity. Yeah, even if you don't agree with the law or rule that the government made, that doesn't give you a right to storm the building and break through the building. And then that wasn't even the case. There was an election that took place that didn't go your way. You created a lie and you stood on that lie and ran behind that lie and justified your violent, evil, hateful actions to break into this building and then act as though you're praying to the true and living God. And this shows me that I know that there's crazy people praying to God whose prayers he just does not hear. Because the Bible even says he doesn't hear the prayer of a sinner. But you know, sometimes people are so deep in their prayer, people are so deep in their act of being spiritual that you say, well, maybe they do know God. Maybe they're just, just tripping. Or maybe they just have some things that they need to get right within themselves. But to see something like this just fully shows me, no, there are some people that wake up every single day with evil in their hearts and their minds and think that they know God. Now, I should know that because I know a lot of, these are just the Europeans doing it, but I know a lot of my own people in the black community that wake up with evil on their mind every single day and they think that God hears their prayers. So this is just their version of it. You get what I'm saying? I know people that get up and I'm not saying it like actively right now, but you've seen even, like I know people who are just actively every single day doing this because the crowd of people that I hang around is very small and has changed pretty much anyway. You know what I mean? With me changing views on a lot of things that I do in life and have done in life and what I know is right and wrong. But there's so many rappers and entertainers who you hear talking about how they wake up in the morning before they start selling their drugs and they pray to God that he's with them throughout the day. I remember the great Kanye West had the Jesus Walk songs, in which when you didn't know any better, you were fooled into believing this was a song about Jesus Christ. And even churches started singing this song in their churches, when in actuality, the whole song was about him doing a whole bunch of sin that he didn't have any business doing and just hoping that Jesus walks with him while he's doing it. Now, I'm not trying to knock him. I'm not trying to put him in hell. We've all sinned. We've all fallen short of the glory of God. But we have to have enough sense to know that we can't continue in sin and expect God to be with us. The Bible says, come out from amongst them. You have to leave the world. You have to come out of that sin. You know, I'm not mad at him if he was struggling and going through some things and he wants to be saved, wants to get his life right. I'm not mad at that. But promoting to people and making people who don't know any better believe that all while you're doing sin and living in sin, that God can be with you, protecting you and keeping you as if you die in that sin, as if you would go to heaven, that's false. That's blasphemy. But I'm amazed at this picture right here. They are in this building praying right after they done threatened to kill people, cause violence, ran down the police, broke through the police barricades and everything else, and showed no respect to the same law that they're supposed to be respecting.